Hello. Happy Thursday, y'all. And welcome to Bankroll Your Brilliance Thursdays. I'm Nicole Roberts-Jones, the Bankroll Your Brilliance expert. I'm always excited to be here to pour into you. And this subject, I bet you some of y'all are like, what is she going to talk about? So come on in. And as you come in, of course, you guys know me, those of you that are my regulars, tell me name and where you're joining from. If you see me looking to the side, first of all, my allergies are acting crazy. If you see me looking to the side, just know I'm looking for your comments. And as I share today, and every time I'm with you, again, I'm live with you every Thursday, 12 p.m. EST. I'm sharing with you from three subject areas. Number one, the value tied to your brilliance. And no, that's the second area. The first area is what is your brilliance? Getting clear on your purpose, the one thing God has called you to do or be in this world. The thing I think is so interesting is so many people think they know what their purpose is, but they're not totally clear on the one lane God created you to dwell in. Hey, Edwina in Jacksonville, Florida. The second area we talk about is the value tied to it. And the third is how to make multiple streams of income from it. Now, whereas number three is the two, well, I'm an expert in one and three. Actually, I'm an expert in all three because you can't get to multiple streams of revenue without understanding the first two. Hold on, you guys. I don't know why my allergies are acting crazy. Look, I was fine till I got on air. Hold on. So when that happens to me, I often think that the enemy's trying to fight me because what I'm going to share is going to bless somebody. So those of you that don't know me, grab a pen and a paper. Hey, Tracy in Mississippi. And two things as I share with you. Number one, I want to know if I'm sharing what I'm sharing, if it resonates with you, if I'm stepping on your toes. I want you to say, ouch, put some fire emojis in the chat. If it's resonating with you, give me some hearts, give me some hallelujah hands, because I'm not here for me, I'm here for you. If you have questions as I share, I want to ask you to post them. I'm looking at them. Hey, Ty in Atlanta. So with that said, I'm talking to you about the three principles of Jerry Curl, my Jerry Curl, y'all, that can teach you that will help you build a successful business. Now, how many of you guys remember Jerry Curl? How many of y'all remember the days of the Jerry Curl? Hey, Dorothy, I got a lot of Mississippi folks in the house today. I love it. I love it. So, literally, as I was looking at what to talk to you about, and anytime I'm talking to you, I am definitely looking at some of the things you post and share with me. So, by the way, let me just say this off the bat. If you're not following me on Instagram, I'm going to encourage you to follow me. But not only follow me, I want you to send me inbox messages of questions you have, topics you want me to share here in Bankroll Your Brilliance Thursdays. Now, I'll be honest with you, I don't get to look at every single inbox, but I have a team that makes sure I don't miss anything. So whether my team is grabbing it or I'm grabbing it, it's important that I hear from you because it's from your insight, your questions, your comments that I am able to create the topics that you need. Okay. So with that said, somebody said I did the Jerry Curl. All right, Dorothy. I'm gonna tell you about me and the Jerry Curl in a minute. Hey, Angela from Cali. Ooh, it's your first time. I love it. I love it. So, if as I'm sharing, what I share resonates with you, I'm going to ask you to also share this. Whether you share it now, you can share it on Facebook. I'm live. I'm live on YouTube, and I'm not asking you to share it to grow my followers. No, I'm asking you to share it because what I know for sure is this insight will bless not just you, but others that are in the journey, whether it is to start your business or to grow your current business. And by the way, the principles that I teach you week after week, whether it's me or the people that I bring on to pour into you, is really around growing your business alongside your 9 to 5. Okay. Because if you're going to have a successful business, you've got to spend money to make money, meaning you got to keep putting, when you generate money, you got to keep putting money back into your business. So you may not be able to give yourself a paycheck for the first year or two. So it's not smart to quit and just start. You've got to have revenue coming in so you can pay your household bills, which would be your paycheck. All right. So with that said, that goes into the number one point. Again, I'm going to walk you through the three principles a Jerry Curl could teach you about growing a successful business. So those of you that don't know what a Jerry Curl is, that means you probably did not see one of my favorite movies in the 80s, Coming to America. One of my favorite scenes in that movie is when I can't think of his character's name. I think his name was Daryl. That's funny. My husband's name is Daryl. Funny. So when the character Daryl, who was dating Lisa, those of you that haven't seen the movie, you'll know who I'm talking about. Go watch it. That's your homework for the weekend. Anyway, Daryl and his whole family are at Lisa's family's house, the McDowells, not McDonald's, but McDowells. And they sit on the couch. And when they get up, there's three Jerry curl circles on the couch. Y'all remember those days? Do you remember the days of having the plastic on the couch? Did your grandmother or your mother have plastic on her couch? Thanks to the Jerry curl. Anyway, so though I'm saying that because I want you to understand what I'm talking about when we talk about a Jerry curl, okay? So I'm going to break it down for you. Okay, so number one, having a Jerry curl is a process. It's a process. So when I think about a process and I think about a Jerry curl, yeah, Angela said I was a hairstylist. So yes, I remember and various thereof. Right, we're gonna talk about that too, Angela. So when you got a Jerry curl back in the day, so the first thing I think about when I think about the fact that a Jerry curl was a process is one of my good girlfriends. I'll just say her first name only, Tracy. And now in the eighth grade, let me tell you something. Tracy's Jerry curl was perfect, y'all. Now, to have the perfect Jerry curl, there's some ingredients you have to have. I'm going to talk to you about that in step two and step three. But hers was beautiful. And then I remember the day she came to school and she had absolutely no hair. She went from beautiful Jerry curl to no hair. We were in the eighth grade. Listen, at 13, for you to come to school with no hair, especially back in the 80s when short hair was not in, and so what happened is her hairstylist didn't follow the process the right way. And what I know for sure is so many business owners, so many people that start a business want to have an overnight success business. No such thing. It's a process. Listen, if you go read the book of Genesis, and by the way, those of you that haven't been here, yes, I'm a God's girl, so I'm always going to bring some Jesus in what I'm teaching. I'm doing a series right now in my FPP Live. I do that every Monday night at 7 p.m. That's my invitation to you. I'm going to give you guys a whole lot of invitations today. Why? Because I'm going to make sure you get everything you need. FPP Live. I'm there every Monday at 7 p.m. Okay? So listen, on the series I just started this past Monday, I'm talking to you about why your business matters to God. And the thing I think is interesting is if you go and read Genesis, y'all, now I'm not going to walk through the whole account, Genesis 1 and 2, chapters 1 and 2. Really, I want you to think about, and for many of us that have studied Bible, have been going to church since you were little, been going to Sunday school, even if you haven't, but you know who God is, you know that the creation story talks about God creating the earth in 6 days, and he took the seventh day off to rest. The thing that I think is interesting that the creation story shows us, first of all, creation, the to create means to act. It's an action you're taking. So I need you to understand that God was the first person to work. So because he could have just spoken and it been done. He could have spoken and it been done in probably 5 seconds. The entire world could have been created, including me and you. But he chose to do it in a process. He chose to do certain things the first day, and I don't have the list in front of me. The certain things the second day, and the third day, and the fourth day, and the fifth day, and the sixth day. Y'all getting this? So if God is a God of process, he's a God of systems, which I can do. Matter of fact, I do have a whole teaching on that. Then what makes you think you don't have to go through a process to start your business? And when you don't do the process in the right way, what happens? You end up like my friend Tracy, your hair falls out. Your business is raggedy. You do not make income. Matter of fact, if I give you another example of things taking a process, for those of you that aren't feeling me with the Jerry curl, let's talk about cooking. If you don't leave meat in the oven long enough, what happens? The meat comes out and it's not done. And if you eat it, what happens? You get sick. Or those of you that think on Christmas or Thanksgiving or Easter or whenever you're making your famous turkey, those of you that cook turkey, because I buy turkey, I don't cook it. Right. I'm going to tell you why, because I can't cook turkey. But because it's a process and I want it to taste right and I don't want to get up at 2 in the morning, let me keep it all the way real. So those of you that think you'll have your turkey done in 30 minutes, it's not real. Not if you're going to cook it, not if you're going to do it the old school way, it's not going to happen. And what I see so many people do is they think God will drop an idea in your spirit, and it is God. But just because God gave it to you, God's not going to do the work for you. It's up to you to do it. So one, you've got to follow direction. So what happens is when God is giving you a vision, especially if it's bigger than what you've ever done and where you've ever been, going into principle number two. So number one, You can't cheat the process. It's a process. My friend Tracy is a perfect example of that, and how, because the process wasn't done right, her hair fell out. And even, can I say this before I go into number two? If you skip a step in the process, so I hear so many people that start their business and they give up because it's taking too long. And then they come back because they feel convicted because they know they're meant to start. And guess what that means? They have to start all over from the beginning. You don't get to go back to where you stopped. Mm-mm. Even with that, if you don't do the process the right way and stay with it. So another example I like to use is seed. When you plant a seed in the ground, you don't just plant it and go, great, I'm gonna have a plant tomorrow. I'm gonna have flowers. Yay, I'm so excited. You know, doesn't happen like that. You got to water that seed and water that seed and water that seed and water that seed. It's a process. Same with the Jerry curl. You got to take care of it. It just doesn't, if you don't take care of that Jerry curl, like, between Tracy and her hairstylist, somebody didn't take care of it. Maybe it's Tracy in between. Maybe it's a little bit of Tracy in between and her hairstylist. The point is, even I can use examples of people now. Those of you that curl your hair every day and it's breaking off, you're not taking care of it. It's a process. If you want a well oiled running machine as a business that's generating money month over month, quarter over quarter, year after year, you got to understand the process. Okay. The second thing you need is activator. Come on, somebody. Remember those Jerry curls back in the day that would shine just perfect? Again, that example I used from Soul Glow, right? I need you to understand that it's the activator that makes a difference. Now, listen, if I use myself for an example, I remember, I think I must have been in the ninth grade. And I begged my mother for a Jerry curl because baby Donna Summer came out and she had the perfect Jerry curl. Y'all remember this? Remember she had like a shag Jerry curl. So it was short at the top and it just glistened and it moved down to be long and it was short and then it was long and it was perfect. And I loved it. I want my Jerry curl just like that. And here's what my mother said, and I quote, she said, "You better go wet your hair and figure it out." Because back then I didn't wear my hair down. I didn't realize my hair was curly. And back then my hair is thick curly. But the Jerry curl I was back then was like, it wasn't thick. It was like thin. And look, for all I know, Donna Summer probably had on a wig. Let me keep it all the way real. But my little 13, 14-year-old mind, I wanted my hair to be just like Donna Summer. And when I went to wet my hair, yeah, it wasn't working. See, what I learned in my business is the tools you've used on this level are not sufficient for your next. Many of you, the reason your businesses fail or you've tried it, it didn't work, is because you're trying to use the tools you know here to go here. So here's some concrete examples. And somebody said this a few minutes ago. All the different hairstyles that came after the Jerry curl, the California curl, and the wave nouveau. Listen, more of my girlfriends that had a wave nouveau had their hair burnt out and it just didn't work. Why? Because they were replicas of the original. And what I see so many people do is, one, they either don't get the right strategy, going back to it's a process, but you got to get the process that's right for you. Everybody's gift is not the same. So if I say, listen, I want to be like Tracy, or that's a couple of Traces in here. I want to be like Mia. I want to be like Nikki. I want to be like Angela. And I start doing what you guys do to start a business, I'm going to fail. Even if I say Oprah says, I want to be like Nicole Roberts Jones, then Oprah will fail. I said it. Because Oprah's DNA, her distinct natural ability, wasn't put in her to be like me. So when you look at the process, you got to understand that God is going to take you through a process to grow your gift, but you've got to have the strategy to grow it. It doesn't grow just because it's there. So you've got to know how to water it the right way. Okay. So then when you start watering it the right way, you've got to understand that you've got to do it your way. I see so many people that try to start to activate, because the activate is what makes it, all the bomb.com. It keeps it fresh and looking good. Kind of like dreads that need to be twisted in the roots. Y'all know what I'm talking about. That's that dread activator they need. They need to be twisted in their roots. I give you so many examples of that. But what happens is, if you aren't equipped to teach yourself how to do this thing, you will fail every time. I don't care how smart you are. Those of you that haven't heard my story, I'm going to tell you my story real quick, because I've been doing this work. This year is 28 years. I'm like, how old am I? It'll be 29 in September. So let's say some 17 years in. So I started this journey in 1993. By 2010, I had gotten my business to the exact place I dreamed of when God dropped that dream in my spirit. So by then, my business had everything I could wish for. So again, this is 2010. So I used to have two divisions in my business back then. I had a nonprofit working with African American teenage girls. It was faith based, and we were in 10 churches in 10 cities throughout this country. And we were growing by leaps and bounds, meaning other churches were calling, and I was traveling and going there and to set up chapters. In my for profit, coaching women like many of you, and yes, I always said I had a few good men. My business has always been 90% women, but every year I at least have one or two men that come that I coach. Happy to do more, just saying. So my coaching practice, I had 100% full coaching client roster, meaning I couldn't take another client. So I thought, let me write a book so that I can give my principles to all the people I couldn't coach while that book became a fundraiser for my nonprofit. But when that book came out, I started getting invitations to speak all over the country. And so it was the exact thing I dreamed of. I was doing it all. I loved every minute of it. But my business was only generating $13,000 a year. Heller. And I didn't start my business to pretty much have community service because you can't even eat on $13,000. You realize $13,000 is lower than the poverty line. So I remember my epiphany moment like it was yesterday. It was November 7th, 2010. And I remember it because I was done. Listen, told you I was speaking all over the country. Now listen, obviously I had a daytime job because you can't eat on $13,000. My daytime job back then, I was an adjunct professor. And I was an adjunct professor at Boston University, and my class was at 8 a.m. the next day, y'all. So this was a Sunday night. I just got home from another speaking weekend. Again, my class was at 8 a.m. I hadn't looked at my syllabus. I didn't have any lecture notes. I probably hadn't even read the books I told my students to read. And so I remember saying, God, if this is you, first of all, I can't do this like this. You got to show me something. So I realized a couple of things at that crossroad. Number one, I had been doing what I saw everybody else do. So I saw this person doing this over here, so I pulled a little bit of that. I saw this person over here doing a little bit of that, so I pulled a little bit of that. And the DNA in you wasn't created to be anybody else but you. One of my super friends, Della Torres, said it like this a couple of weeks ago. If two of us are doing the same thing, one of us is unnecessary. And yet, I kept doing stuff like everybody else. That's what my mother did when she told me to put water in my hair to make it curly. Yeah, no, that ain't gonna make me look like Donna Summer with that Jheri curl mommy. It ain't. That's what the California curl was trying to do. That's what the Wave Nouveau was trying to do. It was trying to act like the Jheri curl instead of being the version of its own curl. Come on, somebody. So what did I do? I went and realized I needed help. This is the process, y'all. This is the process that I went out and got. And so when I went and hired a coach, listen, the coach I hired cost $30,000. So long story short, I couldn't afford it, but I couldn't afford not to do it. So I did it, knees knocking, the teeth chattering. I need you to understand that when you're going to do something you've never done, you've got to get tools you've never had. How you gonna do something you've never done with insights you've never had? Not possible. So you got to hire someone that's gifted in the area where you're weak. It took me 17 years to get this, y'all, because I kept listening. I kept. Y'all remember the activator? Because you just remember spray? Yeah, I kept spraying activator on something that was not a Jheri curl. I don't care how much activator I put in my hair. I don't care how much oil I tried to put in my hair. It either made it soppy and it wasn't curly anymore. I just had a big old afro and I looked a hot mess. I had a greasy afro. I'm so serious. I did try. It was so not cute. I should have taken pictures so I could show you. It's bad. That's how my business looked. Like a greasy, hot mess. I wasn't serving anybody. I was exhausted. And I had no revenue to show for it. So when I hired that coach, I said, God, this is going to be my last try. I risked it all to gain it all. And again, she cost $30,000. I just, listen, I said, I'm gonna make this first payment and trust that I can make the rest because I couldn't even see how it was possible. What is faith? Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. I knew God led me to that coach. So I also had to trust him that everything I did was going to bring in the revenue. And baby, let me tell you, I went from 13,000 to 200,000 in 6 months, and I've been growing by leaps and bounds. That's why I'm passionate about what I teach you guys. Because without the right strategy, I don't care how smart you are. Listen, I had a master's degree. I was teaching not at one prestigious university. I taught at Boston University, and then I taught at USC before that for 4 or 5 years before I moved to Boston. I still was failing miserably. Teaching at graduate school was still failing. So you've got to understand one, it's a process. You've got to get the right strategy that fits for your DNA, your distinct natural ability. And then you got to activate it. You got to put that activator in it, meaning that you've got to then work the plan. Some of you guys have no plan. You're just doing whatever, whenever, however. Listen, if God had a process to how he built the world, oh, you've got to have a process to build your business. Even in the creation story, again, I'm peeling this back. I'm doing a 6-part series in my FPP lives on Monday, so I will not be doing them. I won't be talking about this in Black Doctor. This is probably a small snippet of what I'm talking about in that series. So I'm going to encourage you. If this is blessing you to join me for that series. I'm going to give you guys a gift that's going to help you today too. So hang tight. But here's the thing I think is so interesting. When you look at the creation story, and I'm doing this study because I'm writing my next book. So, in full disclosure, I'm studying for my next book. And then God was like, "Oh, you need to share it." I was like, okay. So, I'm sharing things I'm researching for my book. So, what's interesting is when you look at the creation story, nowhere in the creation story does it talk spiritual. It's talking all material, meaning that many of us think starting a business, those of you that work a 9 to 5, this also relates to you because we all have a part to play. And when you're not clear on the part you're playing, you're holding up somebody's blessing because your gift is the answer to a problem. So in your business, every business, whether you're working for a Fortune 500, 200, 100 company, wherever it is you work 9 to 5, or whether you're building a business, that business was created as an answer to a problem. So when you begin to get in alignment with being that answer, you are also getting alignment with bringing the kingdom here on earth. See, God's first mandate, I didn't know I was going to share this, so let me look it up real quick. Genesis, I think it's 2:8. Let me help. I'm looking at, oh, it came right to 2:8. Come on, Lord. So listen, I went to 3:8. See, that's not 2:8. It's 2:8. Oh, it did go to 2:8. It just turned. Anyway, 2:8 says, the Lord God planted a garden eastward in Eden, and there he put the man whom he had formed. So God put Adam in the garden on purpose. Then 2:15 says, then the Lord God took the man and put him in the garden of Eden to tend and keep it. Now listen. Oops. Now listen. Hit my microphone, everything. God gave you a gift to tend to the world and keep it. Now, the Bible was written so long ago that the world has grown so much, which is God's intention. Because as all of us are flourishing in our gifts, we're also growing the world. But at the same time, the enemy's using that, and there's more evil in the world. So that's why these principles I'm walking you through are so important, because you can't be haphazard with your gift, because you got a group of people waiting for you. Mhm. Whether that's your team at work who can't do that job without you doing yours, or whether that's you and your business that will never flourish until you get clear and get the process you need in place to truly grow that gift into a business. Listen, profit means to gain. And when you're doing the thing you're doing, you gain for the people that need you, and then God brings profit back to you. Anyway, let me stay focused. So going back to the activator. Sorry, y'all, I went on a whole tangent. So you got to follow the directions. Are you going to lose your hair? It's a process. It's a perm. Even if those of you that have never had a jheri curl, or you've had a perm, how many of you guys have had your perm on too long and it burns? Or it burns out your hair? I could talk about the Tina Turner story for that one. But anyway, you guys can tell I like movies. Second is you've got to use an activator. You've got to get new tools. And when my mom told me the Donna Summer thing and I tried the activator in this, yeah, it didn't work. Because this was not created to be a jheri curl. A wave nouveau was not created to be a jheri curl. A California curl is not a jheri curl. Do I need to go on and on? Do you get that point? The last step you got to understand, if you have to saturate yourself in who needs you. Now, activator saturates it. But here's the thing. Those of you that ever saw Jerry Curl, sometimes there'd be one part that had all the activator in it, and this part would look dry. And it's like, did they forget to spray this side? You got to saturate in who needs you. Like, what side needed the activator? But here's the thing, when you're doing what you do, there's a group of people that you are the answer to. You're not everybody's answer, but you are somebody's answer. And for many of you, the reason your business isn't working is you're not clear on what your purpose is. So therefore, the process is wrong, or you haven't got the tools you need so you can moisturize it and allow it to grow, or you're not clear on who needs you. And so you're talking to everybody. And when you talk to everybody, nobody hears what they need from you. The two biggest areas I see people, the two biggest areas of mistake I see people make and or have in their businesses that are keeping them from, well, there's a few. One is not knowing who your ideal client is. Again, you're not everybody's answer. That's my little curls over here talking, right? But you're somebody's answer. Second is not having strategy in place. I call that a blueprint. It's one of the things I walk my clients through. Third, and it's not in this order, sometimes it's all three. And can I tell you this one? If you don't have this one right, the other two won't be right. You aren't clear on your purpose. Your purpose speaks to the niche. That speaks to the one lane God has created you to dwell in. But how do you know what that lane is if you're not clear on what your purpose is? See, what I mean by purpose is, and even if I say niche, is there's a specialization that your gift covers. So if I said I'm a business coach, that doesn't speak to the specialization. I'm a Bankroll Your Brilliance coach. Even if I say I'm a purpose coach, that doesn't say all of it. Really, what I am is a purpose producer. You see the difference? So you've got to really, really, if you're going to have a revenue generating business that blesses not just you, because dare I say it ain't about you. God put you on this earth to serve. Whether you realize it or not, you have ministry. Oh, I said it. Ministry is not just reserved for the pastor in the church. The word ministry means to serve people that benefit. Go look it up. So God gave you a gift. Just like he created Adam and Eve to go in that garden to tend to it and keep it, God created an arena that you have the gift to tend to and keep. And until you get the tools to activate it, that gift will sit dormant. It's like you walking around with a dead baby in you that you never push out. It's like having a jheri curl that either is in too long and therefore it burns out your hair, or you have some other kind of curl and you put a jheri curl activator in it and it ain't working. Either way, I need y'all to get this, that in order for your business to grow year after year, month over month, you've got to get clear on where you are and where you need support. You've got to create the process, the strategy. You've got to then activate it with new tools. And then you got to moisturize it, meaning that you got to grow it in the places that you see you have weaknesses. And there's no such thing as a perfect person. So all of us have weak areas, right? So if you need support with this is a free gift that I have for you. It's my Brilliance. I rolled the twice. The Brilliance Roadmap Quiz. Let me fix that. So what the Brilliance Roadmap Quiz is free. You take the quiz. And what it does is it tells you where you are on the journey. Whether it's time for you to find your purpose, whether it's time to start your business alongside your 9 to 5, whether you're ready to create your 6-figure strategy, because maybe you haven't hit 6 figures. And I'm not talking about once your business, I mean ongoing. So once it tells you where you are, it then gives you your next step of activation, a mini training. That's for free as well. And the reason I created this is when my business was failing, the story I just told you a few minutes ago, I didn't know where to go. I didn't even know what I needed. I didn't even know what was wrong with my business. I thought everything was good. Again, I had a master's degree. I was teaching at a university level at the time. I had a consulting practice going into other people's businesses and developing programs. My problem was I couldn't see all the areas of weakness in my own business. And nobody can. I often say you cannot see the label from inside the jar. So if I'm inside this water bottle, I can't see this label on the outside, but you can, and your coach can. And the important part is to get someone that can help you get in alignment with where you feel stirring in your spirit so that you can move your business, your gift, your purpose into a revenue generating business to serve other people that need you. All right. So that's our conversation for today. Just that simple. The 3 principles a jheri curl can teach you about how to build a business, a successful business. So, number one, you have to follow directions. It's a process. Number two, you got to have some activator, but you got to have the right activator, y'all. All activator ain't created the same. You need tools, the right tools. And number three, you got to saturate yourself in who needs you. But there's so much more to it than that. So again, those of you that know, like you need support, grab that Brilliance Roadmap quiz. Again, it's at brillianceroadmapquiz.com. And that's it. That's our conversation for today. I'm always here for 30 minutes and I'm a little over today, but I always want to give you some insight, some tangible takeaways so that you can begin to move into alignment with God's assignment for you. If you do me a favor and share with me below the one thing you got out of value, one thing valuable you got out of my conversation with you today, even those of you that are watching the replay, I want to know. All right. So with that, I'll be back with you next week for another episode of Bankroll Your Breeze Thursdays. Until then, have a phenomenal week. I'll see you soon. Bye, y'all.